but very confused about the condition she was suffering from, which in the end was diagnosed as trimethylaminuria, TMAU. Thankfully, a very rare syndrome, which causes basically her to smell of really horrible things. I mean, she describes it herself as rotten garbage or sewage sometimes. Ellie, since you had the diagnosis, what were they able to do to you? I mean, have they been able to treat you?
It's not treatment as such, because there's no cure for it. It's more of a protocol that you follow, which is in two parts. One is certain types of medication and or supplements and altering your diet. And it's successful to varying degrees, but it does make a difference to the smell.
I mean, is it genetic?
There are two types. TMAU1 is genetic, and people with that are born with it. But there's type 2, which I have, which is acquired, which it's not quite understood how that happens, but it can happen through damage to the liver or other endocrine organs. And in my case, my endocrinologist suspects it's from about 14 years ago, when I was on a very aggressive course of antibiotics. He thinks it may have altered things metabolically, so that the enzyme, the FMO3 enzyme that breaks down the compounds that I can't cope with, stopped working because of the antibiotics.
So we would all suffer from this if we didn't have this special enzyme that breaks it down.
Yes.
You have not got this enzyme.
No, or I've got an enzyme that doesn't work properly. It might work sometimes, because most people that have this, even if it's type 1, it can be transient. Sometimes you don't have an odour at all, but most of the time you will have an odour of some sort.
And what does anything change the odour? What you eat, what you drink, anything like that change
Yes,
things?
that's very obvious. I mean, the main way of controlling it is diet.
Yeah.
If you eat meat, is very bad. For example, beef, liver, bacon, egg yolk, very bad. Fish, extremely bad, which is where it gets the name fish odour syndrome from, because the compound that smells is trimethylamine, which actually smells like rotten fish. That's the actual compound that if you put a fish in a bin and let it rot, that's the actual smell, is the trimethylamine. So cutting those things out, and cutting out things like coffee, which is a big one, beans, alcohol, sugar, cutting those things out helps.
Oh, crumbs. Well, what are you left with?
Not a lot.
But I suppose, I mean, that's worth it in a way, isn't it? Because it must have had such an effect on your lifestyle.
It did. I became a recluse for a while and didn't really want to do anything. And I had such an active life. But when I realised I could do things through diet, I did, because I don't want to be defined by the condition, and I don't want it stopping me from doing things. I don't do some things, like I find it very difficult to sit in a cinema for 3 hours just in case. I find that quite hard.
Yes, because even if you're not giving off an odour, you must be worried that you are.
I'm worried that I am.
Yeah.
That worry doesn't go away. But the thing with the diet is, like, I cut out almost everything except a handful of fruit, and I lost too much weight. I'm quite tall and I went down to 7 stone. It wasn't healthy. So it's finding a balance between the things that are low in choline, which is a precursor to trimethylamine, choline is also something you can't cope with, which is found in all proteins and most foods.
So a typical diet, what are you eating today, for instance?
Well, today I've had, for breakfast, I had a couple of apples and some gluten-free porridge. I'm okay with oats, but some grains are bad. I haven't had lunch yet, but I'm probably going to have a bowl of vegetable soup. But I need to be careful what veggies I put in, because there's some types of vegetables that are high in choline as well. So it's making sure you know what's high and what's low, but also the human body needs a minimum amount of choline every day for proper neurological function.
So you're constantly having to balance things out.
Yeah, constantly. But you get used to it.
I mean, a lot of people would say you're very brave to even be coming on the radio and talking about it. On the other hand, the more people know about it, at least they're going to be more forgiving and understanding. Yeah,
that's true. It was difficult speaking about it the first few times I did. Like, the first few times I took people aside. But my view is, people are cruel because of ignorance. Once they know it's a medical condition, you can't help it. They are actually very supportive. And it's like any hidden disability. If people don't know about it, bad behaviour can result.
Yes.
So it's being tolerant of other people's behaviours and conditions and educating people. And this is an opportunity for me to help other people, both those who have it and those who don't have it, to
And how many
understand
people
it.
do we think do have it?
It's very rare. I don't know exact figures. It's thought 1% of the UK population carry at least one of the pairs of genes, but far fewer than those will present with symptoms. The UK, the leading expert in it, there's a couple around the country, but there aren't many, only has 30 patients.
Gosh.
But that may partly be because many people with it go undiagnosed.
Exactly, yes, and are probably living rotten lives because of it too.
Yes.
Ellie, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us about it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye.